This is even better than we thought, as an NFL draft analyst just revealed some major Cowboys updates as to who they will select at pick number 12 and why, if they don't get any of these targets, they should trade back. Welcome into Cowboys Digest, everybody. I'm Jace Andrews. I appreciate you tuning in to today's show and hope you're having a wonderful day. We are entering the last couple weeks of the NFL season with the AFC and NFC championships this week and the Super Bowl just a couple weekends after that. But for the Cowboys, they're focused on the NFL draft and a little bit of free agency. But right now, today, we talk about the draft. The Cowboys this year have their draft picks set. They will have 8 picks in total, 2 in round 1, 1 in round 4, 2 in round 5, 1 in round 6, and 2 in round 7. This, of course, barring any trades or moves the Cowboys do make. And the big one they're going to look at, of course, is pick number 12. While defense is definitely a priority for this Cowboys squad, I think that there is an interesting choice there as well. And so that's why today we're going to talk about an NFL draft analyst and his 6 prospects that he revealed he would select at pick number 12 for the Dallas Cowboys. Of course, as I mentioned, the defensive side of the ball is a sticking point for most Cowboys fans. And so in this situation, of the 6 guys, 5 of them are on the defensive side. However, the one offensive player that they suggest is actually an intriguing option that I don't think many Cowboys fans have thought of, but I don't think would be a bad thing. We'll kind of talk about it throughout today's show. Now, before we get into the rest of the video, this day is brought to you by Kalshi. Now, if you download Kalshi using the link in the description and use code DIGESTNFL, you're going to get $20 when you trade your first $100. Kalshi is the largest prediction market in the United States, and on their platform, you can trade yes or no on real-life events, sports, selections, news, and pretty much anything. Now, whether you're in California, Texas, or anywhere across the country, Kalshi is now live in all 50 states. For sports fans, we can trade on game outcomes, playoff chances, or player performances, all on a regulated market where you can cash out at any time. Looking for tonight's game, the College Football Championship, Miami versus Indiana. A trade on yes for Miami to win it at 27% will get you $371 when you trade 100. Pretty good odds right there. Again, you can get 20 when you trade your first 100. It's genuinely the smarter way to use your sports or news knowledge and you can close positions whenever you want. Again, don't forget to download Kalshi using the link in the description and use code DIGESTNFL to get that $20 bonus. Okay, so 6 prospects are at hand for the Dallas Cowboys at pick number 12, and I think the 3 that I want to discuss the most are the slam dunk picks, in my opinion, / one of them being an interesting pick on the offensive side. The first guy is Caleb Downs, and I think we've talked about him on this show enough and talked about the safety room for the Cowboys and the secondary in general, that if Caleb Downs is available at 12, you have to get him. Now, I understand safeties are not exactly the pick that a lot of people will get in the top 10, but I still think that that is a pick that the Cowboys should go after for one specific reason. He is a generational talent, playing in Alabama and Ohio State through his first, or rather only 3 seasons in college football. He's been fantastic with 256 total tackles, 163 of them total, 10 passes defended, 1.5 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, and 6 INTs. He has been absolutely incredible to watch, and if you talk to his coaches, if you talk to media analysts, if you talk to draft analysts, Caleb Downs is a once-in-a-generation type defensive safety. And so, in that light, safeties are not generally drafted in the top 10 or even in the top 20, but this is a guy that is worth it. This is a guy that is a top 10, top 15 generational pick, which is why if he's there, you got to pick him at 12, because the odds that they are, it might not be as high as you think. And Downs, in terms of PFF rankings, has an 84.7 ranking, which doesn't exactly rank him as high as you might think. But again, PFF is an interesting kind of thing to look at. But I think it means less in college just because you're not facing the same people. Caleb Downs' 84.7 rating might be great against, facing Big Ten teams, but what if there's a guy in Kent State who's facing whatever and he's going to be great? I mean, it's hard to justify PFF in the college level as it is in the NFL level when they're all playing similar skill levels and teams. So in this light, though, I go to more of the coaching aspect, and we've talked about him enough to show quotes from his coaching staff, from his Alabama coaching staff, and they're all saying the same thing. This is the best defensive player I have ever coached. His safeties coach at Ohio State this year said legitimately one thing: he should be the number 1 pick. Like, when you have a safety, I understand, you're going to vibe for your guys, but a safeties coach saying he should be the number 1 pick is, It's unthinkable, and I think in a lot of ways he's proven it time and time again why he is so good, why he should be deserving of a top 15 pick. And the Cowboys, again, I keep saying top 10 because I think he's going to go before 12. But if he is there, it's a slam dunk pick. You need secondary, especially safety would help out. I understand cornerback is an issue as well, but that is such a good pick. You just can't pass it up. Looking at our next draft pick prospect, it's Sonny Styles, also a Buckeye, a linebacker, though. He was the Big Ten linebacker of the year. He's absolutely fantastic. And I think in the same light that Caleb Downs is a slam dunk pick, I really do think that Sonny Styles is a slam dunk pick as well. Daniel Jeremiyah, an NFL draft analyst, had this saying, "Sign me up for Ohio State linebacker Sonny Styles. Perfect for today's NFL. He's 6'4", 3'8", with 237 pounds on him. The former safety, mind you, which is something I want to talk about here in a second, with outstanding instincts, range, and physicality. Gives me Fred Warner vibes. The game versus Indiana is a highlight tape." The thing that I like most about Sonny Styles is the fact that he did play safety. And why is that such a big thing? Well, because the Cowboys have had really good defensive, edge rushing style linebackers. You go back to Micah Parsons. Yes, he became an edge rusher, but they have a lot of good linebackers who are good at the blitz, who can get to the quarterback. Something that was a strugglesome part of this year was getting a good coverage linebacker. That can also do some blitzing. I'm not saying that they can't, but getting a good coverage linebacker. That was supposed to be Kenneth Murray. It did not work. Shamar James did about as good a job you could ask for from a 5th-round pick, but at the end of the day, it's just not the same. And so in this light and aspect, Sonny Styles is a perfect fit for the Cowboys, who linebacker room is definitely a necessity as well. Logan Wilson will still be here. You need to get Kenneth Murray off your team, and after that, the linebacker room is thin without DeMarvion Overshown. It just depends, his health level. Hopefully coming up in next year is a lot better than what we saw in this season. Now, the interesting option at my third pick 12 options, it's offensive running back Jeremiyah Love, and not from Ohio State, mistype there, from Notre Dame. Now, Jeremiyah Love is an interesting pick for one specific reason. Running back is in theory not a need, right? Well, you'd be correct because their plan is to re-sign Javonte Williams. But my question/thought is this. If the Cowboys were to sit here at pick number 12, and they already lost Javonte potentially, or the market for Javonte has risen higher than what they thought, maybe that's a situation where you actually do plan on going out and getting a guy like Jeremiyah Love. Now, I like a lot of what he brings to the table. Over 1,000 yards rushing in his past 2 years. We saw what he could do last year in the college football playoff. Had a 98-yard rush, a 94-yard rush this year, and 18 touchdowns this season, which comes after a 17-touchdown year. I mean, he's just absolutely fantastic, and I think in so many different aspects, he is a running back who gives off, Gibbs vibes, or Bijan Robinson is another guy he's been compared to. And those guys were top upper tier picks. And so do the Cowboys necessarily need a running back? No, especially if they're going to get Javonte Williams. But again, if Jeremiyah Love is there at 12, which he very well may not be with how many picks and how many running back needy teams there are ahead of him, I don't think it's a bad shot to go after him, but it also depends on what the plan is with Javonte Williams / if they're able to get him. Because if they're able to get him back on a good contract, it's kind of nullified for Jeremiyah Love. But if not, it makes a really good point. Now, as we go toward the last 3 options that we have on this list, I wanted to put these all together because I like these, but I'm not in love with these. Arvell Reese, the other linebacker at Ohio State, I like him, but Sonny Styles to me is the better pick. Ruben Bain, an edge rusher. To me, he's the only edge rusher that I would choose. I know we've mentioned David Bailey, who's also another option here on this pick out of Texas Tech. I like him too, but Ruben Bain is just the better pick to me. Kind of gives speed rusher type vibes, given a little bit of Donovan Ezraku list, which is kind of what the Cowboys like. But that's why of those 3 picks, Ruben Bain, Arvell Reese, and David Bailey, I think the only one I would actually consider at 12 is probably Ruben Bain, because I would have to think Jeremiyah Love, Ruben Bain, Sonny Styles, and Caleb Downs should be available, one of them at least there. But Bain has been fantastic. It's 19.5 sacks in his 3 years at Miami, over 100 tackles, 62 of them solo, 2 passes defended. He has 4 forced fumbles, with 1 this year, 3 in his freshman season, and 1 INT this year. He's straight up fantastic, and he's one of the best edge rushers we've seen in the draft in a little bit. I think that this would be a good pick, and I know that Defensive line is an interesting position. They love the interior part of the line with the outskirts, the edge rushers, something that they're trying to work on a little bit. But Bain, I think, is the one position I'm like, okay, that's an edge rusher worth going after. Whereas if it was anybody else, I think I would rather go out in free agency and figure out edge rushing / you're also going to hopefully get back to Jadeveon Clowney. So those are the 6 prospects that were labeled, just to kind of go through them once more. Caleb Downs is by far and away the number 1 option. Arvell Reese is probably just behind him. Then you look at the running back, Jeremiyah Love out of Notre Dame, not Ohio State. Good job there, Jace. And then, of course, the other 3 options that I think are less likely, but, Arvell Reese, Ruben Bain out of Miami, and then David Bailey out of Texas Tech. So those are the options at hand. I want to know your thoughts on this situation for the Cowboys. Who do you want them to pick at number 12? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. I'm curious for your 2 cents. To me, I think it's one of these 6 guys, and according to the draft analyst from DLS, pretty good media site for the Cowboys, he said that if they do not get any of these guys, that he would suggest the Cowboys trade back from that point, which find that hard to believe if they would, but I mean, if it gets nullified for their draft, like there are no defensive players, they might have to be forced to trade back. But we'll see, and we'll obviously keep you up to date and talk you through it. But for now, guys, we appreciate you watching. We'll see you next time here on the show. Peace out.